Heya, cryptozens, and happy Friday. Tonight's stories. Yuga Labs buys CryptoPunks and Meebits from Larva Labs. FCA terminates Bitcoin ATMs. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time and the date is March 11th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We bring you new stories on familiar topics. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. If you're new here and you find that you like this show, subscribe and rate us. If you're on Spotify, you can rate us right from the app. Give Tex and I 5 stars. It will help other people find their way to this podcast. Now let's go. But real quick, did you see that the Matic network was down? For 11 hours? So from March 10 at 5:50 p.m. UTC to about 4 a.m. on the 11th. No need for anyone to panic. All of the users' funds were safeguarded. The team investigated and they explained the issue. So it seems like there was an issue related to a planned upgrade, the Heimdall Node. The Heimdall implementation gets used by one of the two layers on the proof of stake chain. Short version, there was a bug in the upgrade that caused consensus to break, and that prevented them from reaching 2/3 consensus. Anyway, around 4 a.m. UTC, they released a hotfix. This got things working again, but the bridge itself will not be reactivated until they've chased down this problem. Their tweet said, quote, "We appreciate your support during this time and have an update. We have deployed a temporary hotfix to unblock the Bohr chain and resume producing blocks on the Polygon chain. While this solution is temporary, the team is working on implementing a longer-term upgrade to fix the Heimdall issue." So anyway, problem resolved, everybody's money is safe, so there we go. Now, before we get into tonight's stories, let's take a quick look at the markets. At the time of writing, the crypto market cap is $1.75 trillion. That's up 0.56 in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 0.26, Ethereum up 0.18, Tether, Binance Coin up 0.75%, and USDC. The global NFT market cap is just above $790 million. The top 5 NFT collections by 24-hour volume on OpenSea are, and given today's news, nobody's going to be surprised here, but 4 of the top 5 are going to figure in our first story. CryptoPunks up almost 2,500%. Meebits up about 1,200%. Dour Darcells up 475%. Bored Apes up 660%. And Mutant Apes up 28%. And keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices. So do your own research. Yuga Labs buys CryptoPunks and Meebits from Larva Labs, which is just way too much power concentrated in one area. Because, in case you didn't know it, Yuga Labs owns Bored Ape Yacht Club as well. Seriously. Those are 3 of the most valuable collections everywhere. Every single night, I count down the top 5 NFT collections by volume. And without fail, at least 1, usually 2 of those collections are in that list. Tonight, 4 of the 5. So, Yuga Labs wants to use this as a way to foster what they call a community of builders. So they can create derivative works around these 2 projects. CryptoPunks being one of the most visible, venerable, and valuable NFT brands of all time. Meebits quickly launched to take its place among the most valuable collections after launching last May. So what they're going to do is they're going to grant the intellectual property and commercialization rights to CryptoPunks and Meebits, their holders. This would let them create works and products based off of the NFTs that they own. Just the same situation as the Bored Apes and the Mutant Apes have. Greg Solano is a Bored Ape owner that goes by Gargamel. He told The Verge, quote, "Everybody knows CryptoPunks, everybody loves CryptoPunks. It's just iconic, ahead of its time. It's visionary, and it's going to be here forever. We were just immediately excited about it without knowing at all what we would want the next step to be. Now, Matt Hall and John Watkinson are co-founders of Larva Labs. They launched CryptoPunks as a digital art project in 2017. Hall told The Verge, "We felt like we were less and less suited to this as a couple of software development experimentalist kind of people. So it sounds like they felt like Yuga Labs would be a better caretaker for the projects going forward." And really, it makes sense in a way. These guys, Hall and Watkinson, they're trailblazing artists. They might not be too excited about spreadsheets and level set calls. In the deal, Yuga Labs is getting more than 400 punks and 1,700 Meebits. Now, to be clear, Yuga Labs is just getting the IP and the NFTs. Larva Labs is still going to be around as their own independent thing. They're going to be working on their own new projects. Now, if you go by OpenSea's numbers, more than $1 billion worth of Bored Apes have been traded. That makes it the second largest collection of all time by trading volume. First place, CryptoPunks, $2.2 billion. Meebits hasn't been quite as successful, but still weighing in at $227 million so far. So after a stunning acquisition like this, you have to wonder, what's next? Yuga Labs already has a successful line of merchandise. A limited time mobile game. Last year, we talked about a celebrity-packed Brooklyn party for ape holders. So what's next? Wiley Aronow is one of the co-founders of Bored Apes. He goes by Gordon Goddard. He said, quote, "We see ourselves with tentacles into all of those things. Streetwear, events, gaming, NFTs, etc. It's just a matter of figuring out and extending that utility to these new IPs." So now here's the thing about that. See, these things cost money, at least to get started, right? Well, Yuga Labs gets a cut every time someone sells an ape. Larva Labs didn't set things up that way. CryptoPunks and Meebits do not provide a kickback to Larva every time they're sold, which is part of the funding problem that they had. So they're going to have to figure out something else. And that something else reportedly does not include starting to take a cut off of the CryptoPunks and Meebits when they're sold. But that something else reportedly doesn't include the "your ape is your member" card model. They don't want that for the Meebits and the punks. And this thing is growing. Yuga Labs only had 11 employees as of January. Today, closing in on 50. And it's not just their employee count. They're reportedly in talks with Andreessen Horowitz, supposedly over a multi-million-dollar investment and valuations of something approaching $5 billion. Yuga Labs has not commented on that potential investment. But here's something to consider. Unlike Cool Cats and Pudgy Penguins, Yuga Labs is working like a real company. They're scoping and acquiring competitors. They're looking to their internal resources for potential revenue streams. A lot of these collections are being run by a few devs and some volunteers out of a Discord server. This is much more professional and company-like. And in a growing market, that distinction can mean everything. FCA terminates Bitcoin ATMs. The financial watchdog for the UK has pulled the plug on all non-registered ATM that serve Bitcoin. They must immediately shut down or face undisclosed additional action. They said, quote, "We are concerned about crypto ATM machines operating in the UK and therefore will be contacting the operators instructing that the machines be shut down or face further action." They, in this case, means the FCA. And the FCA is the Financial Conduct Authority. They are Britain's primary financial regulator, and they have issued their verdict on Bitcoin ATMs in the UK. In what was certainly a shock for some in the industry, the UK was absolute in their tone. They issued a shut down or face further action to Bitcoin's operators all over Britain. They made clear their intentions to cut down contact the companies to make certain they know about the notice. They cited a lack of regulatory structure, the high risk potential, and the importance of adhering to the standards of their money laundering regulations. And that's going to come up. As I told you, it was common. Governments and institutional investors want their regulations, and we as an industry should be ready to welcome those regulations, as long as those regulations are fair. Because until that happens, things are going to be rough. And to be fair, it's not like the FCA has been exactly stingy. They've granted registration to 33 crypto companies as of August of 2020. That's also under their MLR framework, their money laundering regulations. Examples are Gemini Europe, Payward Limited, Galaxy Digital UK Limited, and eToro UK. 22 companies have also gotten a temporary status that will last them until the end of March. More of a provisional status, really. It's at that March 31st date that they're going to learn the decision on the validity of their applications. Included in this group are Blockchain Access UK Limited, which is blockchain.com, Copper Technologies UK Limited, Revolut Limited, and Wirex Limited. Now, according to data from Coin ATM Radar, it looks like there are 81 machines operated in the UK by 8 different companies, apparently. According to the FCA, exactly none of the 33 approved companies have filed documents or gotten the licensing status needed to operate any of those ATM services. What that means is that makes those illegal enterprises until they get those documents filed and get their licensing status updated. Precedent for this, November 15th. Getaplus Limited was handed a decision notice by the FCA. Their application was as a, quote, crypto asset exchange provider, and it was denied. That is the license needed to run those Bitcoin ATM services in Britain. Now, according to the FCA's report, Getaplus failed to meet the conditions for registration under the MLR law, which comes up again, that money laundering regulations. Well, on December 3rd, Getaplus failed at an appeal. They wanted to overturn the ruling in the upper tribunal chamber. What happened is the FCA decided their case provided a, quote, lack of evidence as to how Getaplus would undertake its business in a broadly compliant fashion pending determination of its appeal. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I do really appreciate it. Okay, so NYDIG and GlobalX, they got denied their applications for spot ETFs. Let me ask you this. What do you think? What is the holdup on a Bitcoin spot ETF? SEC, Security Exchange Commission, they think that a spot ETF, which deals with the price at the moment, is much more dangerous than an ETF that is predicting the future price on the scale of months. What ETFs are we going to see before we see a Bitcoin spot ETF? Maybe an ETFT or an ETP, exchange traded product. I don't know. Ethereum? Maybe an Ethereum spot ETF before Bitcoin. Who knows? I couldn't tell you what they're thinking. You tell me what you think. Send me an email at crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. That's crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. And give crypto in 5 minutes a lesson. We're up to 31 educational podcasts and counting. 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And forever, may peace